Hello, my name is Victoria and today I'll take you through the basics of IdeaFlow. IdeaFlow is a note-taking tool that helps you understand the connection between your thoughts and ideas. We believe that epiphanies can be intentional outcomes, so the faster and more seamlessly we can see how a piece of information is related to another, the more epiphanies we can derive. Internally, we like to call these moments of magic, and you'll see this happening very soon. So today we'll cover the following. Number 1, quick capture with hashtags, and number 2, finding relationships with references. I'll start with hashtags. So hashtags are used for quick capture, and it also removes the friction between note-taking and the actual organization of those notes. This is great for curating lists or simply collecting information about a certain topic. So I'll give you an example. And I'll create a new note either by clicking on this new note button or by pressing Command K on my keyboard or Control K for our PC users. So I'll click create new note, and let's say my friend comes over and she is raving about a new restaurant called The Breakfast Table. And I want to remember this for the future, so I'll just write hashtag restaurant. And she also mentions that this is in Vancouver, so I'll just write hashtag Vancouver. In the future, when I want to find my list of restaurants, I can simply search for restaurant, and I get a list of restaurants from all over the world. If I want to narrow it down to Vancouver, I can search for Vancouver, and now I get a list of restaurants in Vancouver. Next, let's go through references. So references allow you to link, display, and find related notes. It also enables the discovery of unrealized information. Now, this is what really creates that moment of magic. I'll give you another example. Let's say I meet a new person at a party, and her name is Emma Tang. And it's a really cool person, so I'll just use the hashtag cool person. And she mentions that she lives in Ithaca Co-op. And it's a co-op located in Stanford. The way that I can reference a note that I've previously created in the past is by pressing the plus button and then searching for that note. Stanford. There we go. She also says that she's interested in crypto and Web3 social media. She is also a super note taker, and I'll just say that she's a potential hire for IdeaFlow. All right, now where the real moment of epiphany happens is when I actually start expanding these references. So I know that she's interested in crypto and Web3 social media, which are pretty niche sectors. So if I expand on Web3, I suddenly find out that Matthew Smith is also interested in this intersection. So let me click on Matthew Smith. I now realize that Matthew Smith is actually a friend who's an investor in decentralized finance. He's also looking to potentially invest in future Web3 social media companies. I also can see that he's actually a grad student at Stanford, and Emma Tang was also a student in Stanford. And so by creating these relationships, I now have this epiphany that Matthew and Emma Tang are definitely two people that should meet. This is something that would have been really difficult to realize without the use of these references. Another example of using references is creating intentional relationships between one thing to another. So I recently found this quote that says something along the lines of, "Why is there something rather than nothing?" And this made me realize that it relates to this one quote said by another person, and it's, "The elephant in the room in every conversation is that the universe exists." Now, after connecting this quote to the other, I now realize that actually this elephant quote also relates to this article about philosophy. And all of this is something that would have taken a lot of effort to realize if I hadn't been able to refer back to these past notes. Now, those are actually the two fundamental things you need to know to start using IdeaFlow. So you can now go ahead and try it out yourself by going onto ideaflow.app and creating an account. You're all set, and feel free to reach out if you have any questions.